Hi everyone, it's Raza von Werder from the University of Mother God Church, and I am talking about my book, Theater of Justice, Celebrity Souls Appear. And I have talked about souls I helped through Purgatory and into heaven. Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, Anthony Quinn, Timothy McVeigh, Rudolph Nureyev, George C. Scott, Richard Pryor, Dr. Robert Atkins, I said Frank Sinatra, and Errol Flynn, and Anna Nicole Smith. Those are some of these celebrities. Here is a chapter on Anthony Quinn, who at the time of this book, I had Richard Pryor and him, and I have not had any revelation about Richard Pryor ascending yet, so it's been a while. Let's see, I didn't write it down. When did Richard Pryor die? I'll have to look it up. It looks like I didn't write it down. It was around 2005 that he died. So it has been 13 years. Oh, he was screwed up. He was really screwed up. So the last video I explained about his situation and how I helped him not to die when he freebased on cocaine and was set on fire a long time ago. And God sent me there. God sent me to make sure he didn't die, because if he had died, he would have gone to hell. And somehow God used me to go there and stop it. Stop his dying and going to hell. And so then when he did die, God gave him to me as a client, because I knew him. I knew him personally. I mean, I didn't know him. I wasn't his best friend, but I spent one evening with him. That's all. Okay, so now we're Anthony Quinn. I received Anthony Quinn, and Anthony Quinn did ascend a couple of years ago. So I've got this long and involved dream. It covers many pages. I don't think I'll get into it because it might be tedious to you. So I'm going to just let it go. And I'm going to get into the second part of the book. See, the first part of the book just gives little chapters on all these celebrities and about how to minister to them and how to help souls. And then the second part of the book, that's the first 106 pages. And the next 107 to 250, no, to 240, 107 to 240. So in the next 140 pages, so more than half the book is about Errol Flynn, because I kept a day-by-day ministry account to Errol Flynn. Maybe some of it might be interesting to people. All right, so a journal of the day-by-day ministry to Errol Flynn in Purgatory. The date is 10, so October 9th, 1981, Friday. Beginning of ministry to Errol Flynn in Purgatory, the first meeting. Upon first waking, I did not immediately recall last night praying to our Lord that I will be allowed to help the souls in Purgatory, that my ministry for the rest of my life would be to them, that I would be able to communicate with them. No, I forgot about that. Even as I'm reading this, I'm thinking, no, I don't remember that exact prayer. I mean, so much has happened in my life, I've forgotten most of it, really. I've been praying for them fervently in the last few days at the exclusion of almost all else. This prayer was rewarded immediately by the first meeting with Errol Flynn in Purgatory. He is not in hell as I feared. I see a scene, there's a dream, I see a scene outdoors similar to the front yard of my aunt and uncle right by the stone fence in Connecticut. No, this is not Connecticut. Is it Connecticut? Why did I put Connecticut? It's New York. It's New York. It was New York, North Salem, New York. I don't know why I put Connecticut. I get confused sometimes between Connecticut and New York. They're right next to each other. And there's a man down there sitting and toying with a camera. There seems to be a man in front of him, but I don't see the other man. Maybe he's going to take a picture of this other man with his camera. The first man I know is Errol Flynn. He doesn't look like Errol Flynn in his prime, but in his 40s with a pockmarked, weather-beaten face and has on a dull red and blue checked flannel shirt. From what I know of him, I get dressed to get him to notice me, or to be more correct, I appear, and that is as an island girl. A wrap-around skirt so he can see high up to the covered crotch area. I have my arms up in a branch above my head, and am gazing at him, tempting him to speak to me. He is so preoccupied with what he is doing, he hardly notices me. His mind is still on that man. I must do something. I think that man is probably his memory of his celebrity on Earth. I go into the clearing to a dirt area and start to dance a graceful dance to Scheherazade, my top showing. Here, this is really funny how I connive to get his attention in Purgatory. It's really funny. I seem to be bare, yet breasts are covered. I know he's going to wonder what a girl is doing here in the middle of nowhere without an audience dancing to Scheherazade, but I do it anyway. He does look at me, but only out of curiosity. I pick up from him. He wonders what I am doing and why. He still will not speak to me. I must do more. This is interesting. You look at Amy Allen and see the work she does, you will see, you know, some analogies here. Amy Allen on the Dead Files. Now I hear a drum beat off in the distance, a Tahitian-type beat, and although it is not distinct or loud, I begin to dance with all my effort. My dance experience on Earth has helped. At this point, I have on a scarlet turkey boa around my hips, and the hip movement and exertion are tremendous. At last, he is stimulated and enlivened. He makes a move toward me. And the next thing I know, we are out together at a restaurant. In this conversation we are having, he seems to be having a problem understanding what was wrong with sex. I tried to explain this to him. I was thinking differently in those days. This is 1981. At the table are several young men sitting with us who are annoying and interfering, but I pay no attention and I concentrate on Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn has now told me all about his life and multiple sex experiences, and I painstakingly explain to him what is wrong. The only problem in logic is that I am a young island girl, yet I am speaking words of wisdom and experience. I must also be careful not to be strident or preachy, but charming and nice. His confession is told with much flair. And I admit to him that I have been through many such similar experiences. I then lovingly touch his arm and explain to him the evils of sex. How can you imagine explaining to Errol Flynn the evils of sex? I find this hilarious because today I preach that sex is not a sin, but it's more to it than that. It's more to it. He doesn't understand. I give him the teachings of St. Thomas. What, lust? Okay, the difference was lust. Lust, not love. See, he didn't put love. There was no love in his lust. It's like an addiction to a drug, you see. When you do sex like that, it's an addiction to a drug. It's like being addicted. And I say in so many words, when you had sex, the mind is filled with a dark cloud. It affects your reasoning power. And the more often you commit the act, the more you lose control over yourself. It becomes a force of habit. And although you feel guilt and remorse each time, it has a stronger and stronger hold on you and becomes a vice. He seems to be saying, you must be kidding. But an old girlfriend of mine from grammar school days, Sonia, suddenly appears to my right and says it's true. She is as I last remember her at age 14. Errol Flynn says, but everything in life is a habit. But I say, yes, but this is a bad habit. And it crowds out the time you need for good habits, etc. He's still confused. He does not understand his downfall, the wrongness of sins of the flesh, and the effect they have on the soul, as if he is hearing those things for the first time in his life. To be continued.